here's a gold Anna on Eichenwald, and the main thing this player sort of fails to do is think about how to sort of relieve pressure on their team. Their team gets like really hard rolled this game, right? Hard rolled, and the only real way to like try and counter that as Anna is to try and like relieve pressure, and this player doesn't really do that very well. I mean, unlucky sleep to whiff, really sort of not worth going for that. You really need to like make sure that you're using your kit to relieve pressure. So I think the Junkrat peak stopped now. Now would be a perfect time to go for a sleep and relieve that pressure, right? Because he's not going to be able to shoot your team, which means that your team is sort of going to be free to do, more things for like however many seconds he's going to be asleep for. So it's like unlucky. But the real problem is how you focus on using your kit here, right? You want to have in your head like the two sort of distances you can relieve pressure. These like long ranges where you can go for like really early like nades, really early sleeps in some cases, just to like make it so that like in that sort of pre-fight phase, your team's actually putting out pressure. And then the other type of thing you want to go for is looking for these situations, especially in this comp matchup, right? Like I think you're playing versus Sigma Ryan, and like you have Hog orisa. So for the most part, they're gonna be trying to like push through you, like at least the tank line. Like the tank line's probably gonna want to push you. They're gonna try and like overwhelm you. They are gonna poke you as well because they're playing like Ash Junkrat. But they're gonna try and push you and overwhelm you, especially when the payload's this close to you. And you should really have in your head that like your hog here. Let's see where it is first. You should really have in your head that this hog here is gonna take a lot of pressure, and you need to be ready. You have full kit, right? You have sleep, nade, you have nano. You have everything this hog could possibly need to hold this corner. But instead you tunnel on this Ryan, who at this point is like dead. I mean, even if he's not dead and he somehow manages to land on the platform, he's at least like out of the fight for a very long time. But because you looked at him so long and you're not thinking about trying to relieve pressure on your hog, who's sort of stuck in this frontline position, and you need to know it's there, right? Like you say, like, oh, I didn't see him. Like it's your job as Anna to like know where he is. You had everything you needed, right? You had the nade, you had the nano, you had the sleep. He could have easily held that corner. Instead, you pulled nano here, which I really don't like. You have like kit rotation still up. So like maybe as soon as you see this Ash here, you can just go for this. You can just go for this nade, right? Or like on these two heroes, and just pocket the. You'll probably kill the Ash because like your Zen's shooting at her as well. But more importantly, you can just get away with just pocketing the orisa. And if she really is, I don't think she would take enough damage for you to have to nano her. But if she was, at least you're like squeezing that nano out as long as possible. Instead, you pull it really early, and you can think like this nano isn't really relieving pressure on your team, because the Ash did die, because like they're not really in a position to. Like the enemy team aren't really in a position to overwhelm your orisa, right? It's not stopping your orisa from dying, and it's not really letting you put any more pressure on the enemy team or taking it away. Like a nano here, like because the orisa's going to have to contest cart. A nano here would have been so much better, right? Because the orisa solo contesting cart, the enemy team are going to want to overwhelm her. So if she's nanoed, she can put out more pressure. She's going to stay alive for a long time. She's going to take a lot more damage from the enemy team, which means that like the rest of the members of your team, like the Zen and this Zarya, they're not going to be getting like shot as much, and they're sort of free to do what they want to do. And we see the same type of thing with this nade here too, right? So like your orisa has to contest, but you go for this like backline nade. If you can imagine, like you played more aggressively with this nade and you threw it on the enemy team instead, you get some antis, can sort of win the fight with that, right? Not because like anti's good, but you're relieving pressure, right? You're relieving so much pressure if you can get this nade on the enemy team, like and sort of on this orisa if possible, because the enemy team are going to get anti, they're going to be scared about pushing so much, which means they're not going to be putting as much pressure on your team. So like this Zarya isn't going to get focused in the trap. This Zen's going to see those purple health bars. He's going to start fragging. Very very backline focused. Like you're very very backline focused. When like to relieve pressure and to stop your team getting rolled, you have to look more to the front line. You never want to be stuck in this position where you're just sort of standing behind your team healing them. Very difficult game for you. Like you did just get hard rolled, but you had chances like this, where you could have where you had Kid up and you could have used it to, like, in front line against the enemy team to relieve pressure, but instead you focus on backline instead, which means the enemy team are still putting out that pressure. Your team are just staying alive for, like, that tiny bit longer. Okay, so this is gold Genji on Hollywood, and the main thing this player does is absolutely disrespect, like, the poke potential, right? This player will just go straight in at any opportunity into a comp that is pretty well equipped not to get wiped by Genji just dashing in, and then we'll just keep feeding. The thing that you really need to do is, think a lot more about this poke potential that you've got. Think a lot more about it. You're under absolutely no hurry, like no pressure, no hurry, to dash straight in and start, like right-click comboing people, right? This corner here, like you're in a really good position just to sort of chill behind this the bin, and just poke the enemy team from behind, right? You can start hitting the Ryan in the back. It's going to make him really uncomfortable. He might turn around a bit. It's going to take pressure off your team in main if you do that. You're going to start building Blade. You're just going to make the enemy team really uncomfortable, right? You're going to split their attention between, your front line and you over here. Very good position for you. And you can just sort of wait for that opportunity, right? Because maybe their Ryan starts backing up, and then this Hammond goes in and gets like a nice pile driver that you want to follow up on. Then you're waiting for that opportunity to go in. You're not just starting straight away by going in. So you can see, like, you just sort of go up here and you're just looking for a dash. Is the only thing you're doing. You're looking for a dash. Then you choose to dash onto the Ryan for some reason, which I'm not 100% sure about. But we can see how you're just sort of getting stuck, like, right in the middle, like, of this fight here. Just, like, right in the middle of the point. When you really don't need to be. You're very happy to be, like, on that flank where you were before, just poking. And this is, like, the general thing for this VOD. You have these chances, like, when you're in a really good position by going for this flank, where all of these players on point, that we can see right now, as well as the Rhine to the right, you could just be poking them from behind, and it's going to make them really uncomfortable, make it a lot easier for your team, help you build Blade, and, Genji's poke isn't even too bad, and if you do really tag someone down, then you have the opportunity to go in and dash. Really, absolutely no hurry to go for this. Yeah, you want to take your time with these right clicks too, Doug. Like, just take your time. Just take your time. He's probably got a hookup, but just take your time, right? I don't know what this is. You have Blade, which means that you want to be going for Blade. Is there anything you want to wait for in your team? Nah. If you Blade, the Moira's probably going to call. And then with those two ults, you're going to do pretty well. So, like, what you probably want to do, the enemy don't really have any high ground contest. So you're pretty happy to, like, dash up, like, commit a dash up, maybe. Like, maybe a little bit earlier than this, actually. So, like, because the enemy team, they're all going to be playing on low ground, you're quite happy to, like, commit a dash early to get up on high ground. And then when you go for this Blade, you can just sort of drop onto the enemy team with it, so you don't have to go for, like, the full dash. I have no idea why you want to hop in frontline and pull deflect. Like, as soon as you have this Blade, you want to be thinking about, like, looking for this chance to go for Blade. Because, like, you could have wiped the team with this Blade, you've got all this free cart, and then you'd be building that Blade again. You could, set up outside the spawn. You don't want to be playing a main like this. If ever the enemy team is playing a comp that gives you a chance to flank, take it. Go up to that high ground, poke them from above, and then if you do want to go for this Blade, you can just sort of, drop down on top of them. Okay, so, like, here, like, we can see again, you're playing, like, low ground, on main, and then you just go in and brawl. So, like, the two things, you're not, like, trying to flank, you're not trying to take these really good positions that Genji has access to, like, using his mobility. So, like, we look at the enemy team and we think, who's really going to contest you? Like, maybe the Batiste shoots at you, maybe the Hanzo climbs up and shoots at you, but generally speaking, like, you're very free to, like, go up on these high ground positions and poke, like, over the top and, like, around the side of the Rhine shield. Instead you're poking from main, which means your poke potential is really bad. And then you commit dash when you know you're not going to get a reset. I mean, I know they were shattering, so it's like, oh, sick play, like, he dodged the shatter, but, like, I'm not too sure that's what you're going for. And then you're just sort of stuck in this position where you're right in the middle of the enemy team, just going for right clicks, and it's so easy for them to focus you down in this situation. If you take your time, and like go up top instead. Like even if it's just this position or like this position to the right. Um, hard flanking, getting on top of saloons also quite good. You just play patiently. Poke them, wait for that opportunity. As soon as someone gets tagged, maybe you see someone take a fire strike, or maybe Anna like gets a nade through. Then commit the dash and go in. No pressure on you at all to like play in main and commit dash like this. Okay, so this is a main tank on King's Row, and you asked about your orisa especially, and your orisa really isn't that bad. Like it's okay. But the main thing that's hurting you is like the way that you're using your gun, right? Like the way that you're using your damage options. It can be a lot cleaner, a lot cleaner. I mean, there's some small things too. Like I don't know what this halt's meant to be. Remember, you're playing this orisa hog. Like you have to go for these halt hooks. If you're not going for these halt hooks, halt above the shield. You get someone above it and hog hooks it, whatever. Very common combo. You might as well just be playing the Sigma comp, right? Because Sigma Orisa is actually very strong. So if you're playing the hog into it and you're not getting any hog hooks, I don't think you got any this game. You are really hurting your team. But the main thing is going to be like a lot of stuff to do with like your gun, right? It's like you have these. You sort of get in this mindset of like, while you have ammo, you're just holding down +1 and like looking sort of roughly in the enemy team's direction, which works when the enemy have shields up. But it means that once those shields go down, like you're not really putting out the targeted damage that you need to. Also, right now you really need to reload. As soon as here the shield goes down, no one's going to pick this corner, right? No one's going to pick this corner. You have this Maywall to the right. You have a really good chance here to reload, and you want to be looking for these chances too. Because Orisa doesn't usually get a chance to reload like this, so if she gets one, she has to take it. And we see now, like, you run out of ammo in this really unfortunate position when, like, there's all this time, like when is that the enemy Orisa's wall? I don't know what the colours are, but like, well, like you could be putting out damage. Do you even cancel the reload with the? Yeah, you even like stagger the reload with the orb. Like there were a few of these moments where like you're given these like tiny chances to reload and you just sort of miss them. And Orisa always needs to be looking out for them. But like your Orisa really isn't that bad. It's okay. So like you get halts like this, right? Nice big halt. Sure, like Hog's not there to get a hook on it because of the shield, but like it's nice and like you fortify, you shield kite the Reaper is okay. But like with the gun, right? I think like this Orisa walks through the shield, and immediately as soon as you see this Orisa walking through the shield, you should be like hard focused on her, right? Hard focused on her and just like ping her in the head. Instead, you're just sort of like lazily like looking around a bit. You try and go for a halt here, which isn't really necessary. I know you do get frozen, but it's like, and like an Orisa player should be like, they'll be so happy when that enemy Orisa walks through the shield, right? Because they can just walk up to them and hold that on to the head. But there's a lot of moments like this where it's like you're not really putting out like the targeted damage that you need to, and it's something you should really focus on because like your fortify timings, your shield timings, like all of it's pretty good. Like you do things that other Orisa players at this rank probably won't do. So like you can definitely outplay people with like your ability usage, but it's these damage options that you really need to work on, right? Like really just try and focus on them for a few games, and like you'll get more used to like actively tracking people and actively doing damage to them. I like that you're actually poking shield. So many players at this rank just don't poke shield. It's crazy. You make it a lot easier for your team by poking shield. You get the reload in. You should be poking Sigma shield though, because Sigma shield it doesn't regen. It regens very slowly, very slowly. So if you poke it at the start of the fight, and he has to use it, it's gonna get destroyed pretty fast. So poke that one too. Oh, you do get a whole hook. Nice. Okay. So like here, right? Oh, sorry, the dog next door is going. So here, right, after you walk through this fortify, take out this Orisa. It's nice. And then here, I know it's really blurry, but you're holding +1 this entire time, just shooting around. Also, you walk back into that melt. You hold mouse on that entire time, just like shooting around when you should be like trying to actively find targets and burn them down. I don't really want to go through and point out like loads of specific micro things when like the thing that will help you by far the most is just like focusing a lot more on damage and being like you can be a lot more greedy with like how you're doing damage. Really look for like single targets and try and focus them down because you can do a lot more damage.